Hare Krishna, all the devotees. So welcome to all the devotees today on the Saturday evening Bhagavad Gita discussion. So today we are starting the 5th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. We completed 4th chapter last week. So we are going to discuss about the perfection of Karma Yogi. Yeah. So this is the final chapter where Lord Krishna is elaborating on the science of Karma Yoga, and we are going to discuss today. So, Lord Krishna elaborately spoke in the 4th chapter the different varieties of sacrifices a practitioner performs while elevating his consciousness. So, Lord Krishna finally culminates the discussion that sacrifice has to be for the for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. Yeah. So, and he concludes the chapter and Lord Krishna also advises all the practitioners in order to understand what kind of sacrifice we need to do based upon time, places, and circumstances for the elevation of oneself. It is very, very important to actually go through the spiritual master who understands the need. Yeah. And what is the need of spiritual culture? There is only one, which is to actually please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yeah. If we actually approach the bona fide spiritual master, tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena seveya upadekshante te gnanam gnanina tattvadarshinaha. The spiritual master would be able to guide the practitioner to direct him to the lotus feet of Krishna. So we also elaborately discussed about no spiritual master in the world who is bona fide will never claim himself to be God. He always becomes an instrument in the life of a practitioner to elevate him in devotion to Krishna, devotion to the Supreme Lord. Yeah. So we discussed about this elaborately, and Lord Krishna also warned the practitioners that Ashraddhana Agnasya Ashraddhanasya Samshayatma Vinashyati. So Lord Krishna also Shraddhavan labate gnanam tattara samyatendriyaha gnanam labdva param shantim achirena adhigachati. This was a conclusion Lord Krishna gave in the 4th chapter, that any practitioner who is actually taken up some form of the sacrifices, one needs to have Shraddha. From Shraddha, one obtains the knowledge how to practice and how to elevate oneself in the path of Krishna consciousness. Yeah. So here in the 5th chapter, we are going to discuss about Arjuna's question. Arjuna again asking question to Krishna. In the previous chapters, Arjuna asked the similar question. So we are going to discuss that, and Krishna elaborates. Yeah. So this 5th chapter is divided into 4 parts. So first, Lord Krishna is going to elaborate on, Arjuna is going to ask, Krishna, you elaborated on renunciation in the previous chapters, and you spoke also about performing action in devotional service. What is better, whether should I engage in devotion or disengage myself from this world? So this is an important question Arjuna asked. Should I engage or disengage myself? So now Lord Krishna is elaborating about practical renunciation in this world. How one can actually practice renunciation while performing his worldly duties. With what consciousness one need to perform the worldly duties, Lord Krishna is going to actually elaborate in the 1st section, that is called Stay in the World. Okay. Now, when we perform our duties, what should be our consciousness? Lord Krishna is going to actually explain the 2nd part of the 5th chapter. In the 2nd section of the 5th chapter, Lord Krishna is going to elaborate on, if you're practicing while performing your worldly duties, what should be your consciousness? What is the consciousness that really affects us when we perform our duties? We think that I do everything. I'm earning, I'm sweating day by every day, I'm earning the money, I'm doing everything, I'm performing. Based upon my performance, company is giving the salary. And while I'm doing everything, where is the question of anyone else who can influence my results? This is one understanding which actually intoxicates everyone in this world. Somehow or the other, people want to put themselves up and put everyone down, saying that without me nothing is going to happen in either in the community or in the nation or in the family. It starts with the family itself. Someone thinks that because of me entire family is going to run. I am the elder in the family, I must be respected. Everyone should bow down to me. This is the consciousness. So this consciousness expands from family to the company, to the community, to the state, to the nation. This is an expanded egoistic mentality each one of us have when we perform any duty in this world. Anything if you want to do in this world, we think that because of me, things will move on. That's why Krishna clarifies this in the second section of the 5th chapter itself, because Krishna is talking about practical renunciation. How is it possible to have a practical renunciation in this world? Only when we have a proper consciousness when we are doing our duty. How can we have a proper consciousness when we are doing our duties? We need to understand that things are not moving because of me. Prakriti kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvashaha ahankara vimudhatma kartaham iti manyate. Lord Krishna says in the previous chapters. Because of Maya, the nature, how actually influences us, we think that we are doing everything. It happens, every family has a problem. Because in every family, there will be people who pose themselves as elders, though whether they have qualification or do not have qualification, and then things go in a disarray. And everyone wants to be glorified, respected, and and prostrated obeisances has to be done to them. This is a mentality everywhere. Because of that, today me mentality has come. What is in it for me? Am I, for example, if the marriage is taking place, everyone thinks, what is my position going to be? Then only I will contribute. I will contribute in serving in the marriage if I have a certain say in the marriage to happen. At least tell me what kind of inner garments that boy is going to wear. At least let me make that decision. That kind of consciousness we all get into. If the clothes we are buying, I should be taken. From me, the color has to be chosen. From me, the border has to be chosen. From me, the price has to be chosen. If I think that 15,000 rupees sari is not at all required for the girl, you should take what I select for. You get what I mean? This kind of consciousness is there everywhere, everywhere. Sometimes it is good, sometimes it becomes extremist kind of a exploitation. As long as a person is knowledgeable, who can actually guide the community, this is okay if he doesn't have any ulterior motives. But if the ego plays in the head of the performer, and if he doesn't have any other qualification other than looking to extract as much as possible in the 3-day ceremony of the marriage, then it becomes a sweating experience for everyone. It is not an place of celebration, it's a place of commotion, where everyone become grouped into multiple groups doing gossiping of what is happening. This is a basic problem in our community. So, is it possible to have practical renunciation? Lord Krishna is talking about working devotion. What devotion we have? We have devotion to ourselves, not anyone else. I should be glorified. I should be accepted. I should be put, in the altar where everyone sees me that I am the person who is taking decision. In marriage, who is the person who holds that cashier, this one, what is it, bag, becomes a big debate. I'm going to hold the cashier bag. Everyone should come and ask me. And this is basically, it becomes in everyone else. If you ask anyone else to do any work, they say that who is going to pay for me? This happened in my cousin sister's marriage. I was trying to, one of our relatives was supposed to go and pick some of the boys' relatives from a hotel. He was supposed to go in a car, but it was a rented car. They were not mine people, but they were influential stakeholders. So he was supposed to go, but big question he had: who's going to pay for the taxi? He said, I'm not going to start the taxi unless and until someone pays for it, and then I will go and bring them. And 20 minutes has gone. They were thinking they have already come, and the taxi is waiting. That man is standing. And then I went, what has happened? And everyone was saying the taxi has not gone. So I went and I said, okay, let me pay. You go and bring. So, everywhere, this kind of what is in it for me, why should I do it? Why should I sweat? Why should I spend? What I'm going to get out of it? Spend for Krishna? Spending for Krishna? What I will get out of it? If I spend for my wife and buy a necklace, at least she will smile and, at least give me a pleasure for a few days. But buying for Krishna, spending for Krishna, what is there in it for me? This is a big question mark, exclamatory, in bold letters in this world. Why are you stupidly doing this? People keep on asking. So that's why Krishna, immediately when he actually speaks about practical renunciation, immediately he puts that whenever you are working, please remember you are not the only one person who is bringing the result. If you are thinking you are bringing the result, then you can claim that I can do whatever I want. If you are bringing the result on yourself, I can do whatever I want. Yesterday, I was sitting, it was, I think, 7:30. It started raining heavily in Mysore. I had big plans and, I was talking to some of my, other work which I'm doing. I was in call with, outside India and planning everything. Suddenly, big, heavy rainfall and electricity went off. And electricity went up because we have some problem with the UPS, and entire electricity went pitch dark, and network also got disconnected. And whom I was talking, planning everything stopped. And I just went out and started looking at the heavy rain that is coming out. We plan. And suddenly, I have been sending thoughts of the day for every day. And suddenly, I took my mobile and some thoughts came and started typing. So, and basically, I will tell you the gist of it. Basically, nature creates everything for us. Nature creates, we imitate. This is the starting line. Nature creates, we imitate. And in that kind of imitation, everyone becomes so proud that I'm doing. Please look at me, I'm doing. But everything is organized by whom? Nature. Without the cooperation of the nature, though I was planning everything, this will happen, that will happen. Suddenly rain started coming, everything went pitch dark. All plans stopped, halted. So who has to cooperate with us? Nature has to cooperate with us. So one of the doer is who? Material nature. Without the cooperation of the nature, nothing will happen. Hence, Krishna is saying practical renunciation. What is practical renunciation? Practical renunciation is that I am not the one who is giving the result. I am not the one who is giving the result. I am only a doer. I am trying to do. I am a partner in this endeavor. This endeavor as a result, I have 33% in that. I'm a 33% stakeholder in that. But I am not the complete stakeholder. I am not completely responsible for it. So when we do this with that consciousness, irrespective of the result come, we understand that someone else is also influencing this. Without someone else influencing this, how is it possible that accomplishment can be done? So if results passing or failing, I might have put all the effort consciously to trying to do my best, but still if it fails, for example, Srila Prabhupada before going to USA, he tried like anything, trying to establish the cultural society in India. He sweated day and night. He lost all the money in his business, pharmaceutical industry. He wanted to earn like anything so that he can actually, utilize it for Krishna consciousness. But he lost everything. Then he left everything and became a full-time devotee, concentrating on distributing the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. He was going in road, giving back to God at one-page magazine. He was hit with a car. He was unconscious. He was admitted to the hospital. Money was not there. Every day he was trying to collect 100 rupees. Was a big challenge to pay for the printing press. He went and then got a bungalow in a Surat or somewhere, and the owner of that community hall where he was trying to distribute the knowledge. After a few days, a couple of years, he said, "You have to leave this." So Prabhupada left that. Everywhere he started in India, it was a failure. With whatever the experiences he had in India, which was a collective failure, though he had in writing all the successes, he went and met Lal Bahadur Shastri, he went and met many, many great politicians in those times who were really, really worshipable personalities. But irrespective of that, whatever he dreamt, it was a failure. With the collective experiences of failure, he decided he will go to America. So this was, we need to understand that whenever we are trying to perform any activity, there are impediments that comes. Prabhupada understood that whatever the plan is happening, it is all organized by Lord Krishna. Without his permission, nothing is happening. So peacefully Prabhupada decided he left America. That too with the 30 rupees in his hand. He didn't go by any Tata Airlines or Air India or anything. He went in a horrible cargo ship. I will not say very, very flaunt cargo ship. Cargo ship means it will be carrying all kinds of groceries, all kinds of edible things, all kinds of things that is going to rot in few days of time, and it will be filled with all kinds of and things where you don't have a luxury of traveling. He made space for himself. He cooked for everyone in the ship as well. So when we do things, there is a nature which decides the results of us. There is we. We means whom? Soul, individual soul. And who else is there who is a partner in this endeavor? The supreme soul or the super soul or Krishna, who is actually influencing the results as well. Without these three factors, we will never ever be able to complete our task. So when Krishna says practical renunciation, that means that immediately Krishna says, you are not the only doer. There are two other partners who are influencing in your endeavor as well. Understand this. When you understand, then you will become peaceful. Now, Lord Krishna speaks the third section of the fifth chapter. Lord Krishna speaks about various communities of people, how a practitioner should respect all, realizing presence of God in each and everyone's heart, how to develop that equal vision. Yeah. And the fourth, Lord Krishna summarizes the Karma Yoga by speaking about achieving peace and harmony in this world, identifying the Supreme Lord, who is the enjoyer, who is the well-wisher, and who is the Lord of all the living entities in this world. So this is the summary of the fifth chapter. So first verse, Arjuna uvacha sanyasam karmanam Krishna punaryogam cha samshashi yachreya yetayor yekam tanme bruhi sushchitam. Arjuna said, "Oh Krishna, first of all, you asked me to renounce what? Then again, you recommend work in devotion, work with devotion. Now, will you kindly tell me definitely which of the two is more beneficial?" Again, Arjuna is continuing similar nature of question he had in the previous chapters. In the previous chapter, Arjuna asked, you asked me to fight in the battlefield. At the same time, you asked me to work in devotion. Better I work in devotion. He opted for the first. Now the renunciation got added. Now he is saying which is better. So now the discussion. So how do we understand that? How do we understand what is renunciation and what is work in devotion? Why is this? The two things has been segregated independently. We need to understand from time immemorial, we have people who considered detachment from everything as a goal of life. In those times also, we had people who thought that worldly engagement is dangerous. And the only way we can actually come out of the reactions of this worldly engagement is complete disengagement and move into the forest. In the forest also, it is not so easy. You have to think about your own life. So practical renunciation is very, very difficult when we look life in the angle of only giving up. Giving up is not a perfection. Giving up is not a perfection. For example, giving up is very, very easy for everyone. We become accidental giving up personalities. You understand what it means? Accidental giving up personalities? Huh? 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 Yeah. So accidental giving up mentality is basically when we think that things are not going in our way, we just throw it out. Give it up. I'm not at all going to look at it even. Think about even. This is not a renunciation. This is a frustrated expression, that's all. We will have attachment to that, but because it is not going in my way, throw it out. Anyone who wants to do it. If I need to do that, you all need to follow how I say. Then only I will do it. So this kind of mentality has been going on. This Bhagavad Gita is a science of all kinds of personalities, experiences, which Krishna already know. Ishvara Sarvabhutanam Hruddeshe Arjuna Tisati. Krishna is living in each and everyone's heart. He understands what Duryodhana thinks, how Bhima thinks, how Yudhishthira thinks, how Arjuna thinks, how Shakuni thinks. He understands each and everyone's thoughts, how it is going. So Krishna, Bhagavad Gita is a holistic experience of all kind of saintly and also demonic kind of people. So for them to give the direction, Krishna is instructing. So practical renunciation, Krishna is going to elaborate. So when Arjuna asks renunciation, renunciation is like giving up. Arjuna was also an accidental giving up personality. Arjuna was also an accidental giving up. Was he that, he didn't wanted kingdom? He wanted kingdom. But how did he wanted kingdom? He wanted kingdom in his own way. In his own way, that I will win the war. I will go to the kingdom. Bhishma will be there. Drona will be there. All my elders will be there. They will say, Arjuna, you are such a great warrior. Because of you, everything got wrong. We wanted to establish dharma, and you were the anchor. Because of you, Pandavas are able to establish dharma now. He wanted celebration with the accompaniment of all the relatives. This is how, when the things he saw that is not going to happen in that way, then Arjuna got alarmed. If no one is going to be alive, why should I even fight for? I don't want this, throw it away. So this is all called accidental giving up. So that's why Arjuna is asking this question. Giving up is to be done or work in devotion. What is work in devotion? Krishna advised Arjuna that don't leave the battlefield. Though you might be feeling dejected by the setup of the war, how the war is turning out to be, the war may not be happening in a way you might have thought. Still, you need to fight in the war, because this war is actually happening to establish dharma, not to establish your ambitions. Every time we think that everything is happening is going to be establishing my ambition, it is not my ambition. So Krishna is telling Arjuna, leave your ambitions out. Arjuna was also an ambitious person. So Krishna told, war is for satisfaction of me. Yeah, that is where Arjuna had to paradigm shift from fighting the war in his terms to fighting the war on Krishna's terms. That is what is called work in devotion. Work with devotion is when we work not on our terms, on Krishna's terms. That is called work in devotion. Selfish work is what? Karma is what? Work on my terms. Karma yoga is work in Krishna's terms. Very, very simple. So Lord Krishna is going to elaborate. Now this is an example. A person who is walking on the road, he saw it might be a 1 rupee coin, no one will notice. But just imagine it was like a $1 million or something. It is just a wallet is dropped. So what are the three options possible? One, can I see? Nothing. No, I didn't even see. He might have accidentally seen. After going home, he would be thinking, I should have picked. I should have done it. Why I didn't do it? I had so much of opportunity. You get what I mean? This is called a mid-age crisis. You know mid-age crisis? You know mid-age crisis? In mid-age crisis, everyone starts thinking their youthful days, what they could have done. I should have done this way. They would have done some sacrifices, living and all those things. They start thinking, if this is the life is all about, where I'm in the mid-age, why the hell I left it? You get what I mean? Why the hell I left it? Because in the mid-age I'm suffering like this. Better I would have enjoyed in my youthful days. Okay, Krishna consciousness came. in the middle. It's okay. Before that, I should have enjoyed. You get what I mean? These all kinds of midlife crisis. They're natural. So living it, seeing it, living it, it is like a kind of a accidental giving up mentality. Again, I'm telling you the same. Somehow this, I coined this word, accidental giving up mentality. Even though you give up the desire of living it, left it, will keep on pricking our head every day. Second is, pick it up, use it. Just like what our, who is the owner of that airline? Vijay Mallya. Pick it up. It was for airline to go. He used it for his own airline. Flew everywhere, took all the, all the beautiful girls of this world and flew and enjoyed. Pick it up and use it. But the thing in this is, what he did is, he could have postponed his enjoyment for a further moment, for another 20 years. He could have expanded his enjoyment for next 25 years, 30 years, but he wanted to enjoy everything in, that 5-10 years of time. So all his credits, what he had is finished. What he was left with is only suffering. You get what I mean? These are all karma concepts. So utilize it is the second mentality. Third mentality is, someone recognizes it, identifies the owner, goes and speaks to him and gives it up. This is the third. Third is actually the work in devotion. First is the renunciation of accidental giving up, that nothing, I don't want to touch anything, though the desire is there in the heart. Second is the vikarma, which is an horrible karmic activities which we are going to suffer. The third one is karma yoga. Yeah. So after speaking this, let's move into the second verse. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Sanyasa Karma Yogascha Nishreyasa Karubho Tayostu Karma Sanyasa Karma Yogo Vishishyate. The personality of Godhead replied, the renunciation of work and work in devotion are both good for liberation. But of the two, work in devotional service is better than renunciation of work. Lord Krishna here is trying to tell Arjuna that renunciation, yes, that is good, but renunciation has to be done in a proper consciousness. Otherwise, accidental giving up is not going to help us in our elevation of our human life. Better, we have to work in devotion. Some of the people who are in renunciation, what is the first thing they do is the mental speculations. Speculating knowledge, deriving their own conclusions, and trying to detach themselves artificially. This is a dangerous thing, because trying to detach themselves artificially without burning their body means sweating. Unless and until the body, which is like a machine, goes through its own experiences and sweats it out, detachment will never come. That's why it's called, if you really want to understand this life, then, bring Bhagavad Gita into your life, go through your life practically, understand the suffering and happinesses. Whenever the difficulties come, lift Bhagavad Gita and apply the knowledge and keep on moving in life. This is the only solution for practical renunciation, because it is not so easy in this world to get the renunciation. Body has to go through its experiences. Nahi kaschit kshanam api jatum tishta akarmakrut karyatehi avashak karma sarvam prakriti jai gune. Everyone have to act through the material modes of nature. We are going to discuss about that. We are already so tightly coupled with this material modes of nature. We cannot say that artificially I will renounce it. It is impossible. It's not possible. Even someone who is a brahmachari or a sannyasi has to engage in responsibility, has to take up administration, has to take up decision making. Otherwise, how is it possible that our body naturally, our soul can give up this attachment? I will speak about this attachment. So Lord Krishna continues. Shreyasa nitya sannyasi yona dveshti na kankshati nirdvandvo hi mahabaho sukam bandhat pramuchyate. One who neither hates nor desires the fruits of his activities is known to be always renounced. Such a person, free from all dualities, easily overcomes the material bondage and is completely liberated, O mighty armed Arjuna. Lord Krishna is saying, Yona dveshti na kankshati. So, for example, if we are all working in this world, we are all earning, we are getting salary. So, for example, if we start thinking about the journey we go through, this journey is filled with suffering and happiness. Everyone have a different journey of, might be different variety of suffering, variety of happiness. But on the principle, suffering is happiness is same. For example, if I pinch Manju Prabhu's skin, Manju Prabhu might feel something different. If he pinches in the same intensity on mine, I might feel in a different way. But suffering is both of us will suffer. You get what I mean? Someone might be little degree, someone might be higher degree. But suffering has there. Everyone has to go through suffering in this world. Without suffering, nothing is going to happen. Whatever we are achieving in this world, suffering is part and parcel. Happiness is also part and parcel. Now, for example, a wood. This has been, I think, a story that has been famous all over. For example, if a wood is going through a carving, it needs to become a beautiful a sculpture. It has to go through the chisels of hammering. The artist uses the chisel and start actually breaking the wood, and the wood starts saying that I was looking ugly, I want to look beautiful. Then the artist says, yes, I am holding the chisel, I am also holding the hammer, I am going to actually start breaking this wood. If the wood starts crying, don't hammer me like this, I am going through the pain, I am suffering. Why is this suffering for? I want to achieve something. I want to become a personality of character, integrity, and values. If I need to become a personality of character, integrity, values, nature is an artist. He uses the chisel of karma and hammers us with different experiences. We are going to get suffering, happiness. We need to understand thus this chiseling is happening on our because I need to actually mold myself. If we understand the end result, we will always be patient. So the nature is the artist. I'm saying beyond the nature, Lord Krishna is there. Without his sanction, nothing happens. So when we have faith in Krishna, we understand whatever Krishna you are desiring, I will go through. But attachment, wood has an attachment to itself. That's why it is feeling the pain. For example, let me just give my experience as well. When I came to India, I bought a new car in Pune. So I was carrying my colleagues and I was going in MG Road in Pune. And that was, I think, 1 week old car. And I was going and, I stopped at the traffic light. When I stopped at the traffic light, someone from behind came and just pushed my car. It was a very, very sweet push. I could able to recognize someone actually pushed me from behind. My colleagues who were sitting, they said, nothing has happened. No one has pushed. I said, no, someone has pushed. Let me come out of the car and look at who has pushed. He's saying, no, Radha, no one has pushed. Don't worry, let's move on. I said, no, someone has pushed. And I just, took the door out and went and saw behind someone with like a, what is Collis? Collis is like a rented car or something. It has a kind of a steel kind of a frame in the front. That it had were two like a horns, and both the horns had gone inside my car, and it had come out. No one had noticed except me. Why there were passengers also in my car. Why they couldn't able to recognize? Because I had the attachment. Similarly, the soul which is sitting in the body, based upon the attachment, be able to recognize even a small suffering that happens in the body. But the soul is aloof from this body, but still it is sitting in the body. It goes through the experiences. Yeah. So duality is experienced based upon the attachment. Just like a wood is attached to its own body, it's crying, don't hit me so much. But if we understand the ultimate goal, we will get the patience to tolerate. Yeah. Sankhya yogo prutak bala pravadhanti na pandita ekam api astita samyak ubayor vindate palam. Only the ignorant speak of devotional service as being different from analytical study of material world. Sankhya, those who are actually learned, say that he who applies himself well to one of these paths achieve the results of both. We need to understand this very, very elaborately, because people think that studying the world means spirituality. Studying the world is not spirituality. There is some groups which study human bodies for enjoyment, and they think that it is a yoga to connect. Sambhog se samadhi tak. Desire, exploit it. Artificially try to inject desire. I don't have desire. Take artificial injections. You will get more desire. Enjoy. Then when I will get detachment? When you reach the peak of enjoyment, that time you will get dejection. That dejection is like mental, torture only. People, I have seen dejection in Australia. 3 o'clock in the morning, they would have played in the pubs and met girlfriends, enjoyed with them, fought with someone else who actually wanted to claim stake of your property. You would have fought with them. Accidentally, the person who is dancing with the other girl tried to pull the girl to his side, and I'm telling you, I'm not speculating. This is something which really happens day to day in the Western world. He pulled her out of his passion, and she also thought, okay, let me experience this. This boy who was accompanying her became agitated, fought, boxing, Mike Tyson, and both are in red, the whole ballooned like a potatoes, and they end up coming to the temple. This is not Sankhya Yoga. Please don't understand this is Sankhya Yoga. The analytical study of this world is not this. Analytical study of this world is with detachment, is with knowledge. So analytical study has to be done under the direction. Then if we follow the direction, we will reach the goal. So that's why many people who have done it, who have tried to study the world with scientific research. For example, Lord Kelvin says that if you study the science in deep enough and long enough, it will force you to believe in God. Isaac Newton said, I do not know what I appear to the world, but to myself, I seem to have been just like a boy playing on the seashore and diverting myself in now and then, finding a smoother pebble, prettier shell than ordinary. As the sea waves comes out, more and more shells comes out. What we see is only what his wave is presenting to us. What is hidden is underneath the sea, which no one knows. I haven't discovered. Isaac Newton is saying. This is a conclusion big scientists have come after doing all the analytical study. Mind you, they were not kind of, extremist enjoyers. They were culture in those times also. It was culture about the entire world was a Bharatavarsha. We try to understand. It is now that this materialistic culture has come in last 150 years. Yeah. So whether you look through the world through the analytical study, understand how each and everything in this world is a miracle. How things sprout out in this world is everything is a miracle in this world. When we try to study each and every appearance of things in this world and try to find out the source, that is called analytical study. Yeah, one who does the analytical study of the world, Krishna says he has to reach me. One who performs the bhakti yoga, he has to reach me. What is the easiest process? Performing the bhakti yoga, because when you perform the bhakti yoga, understand the nature, that is much more easier than, for example, if you are trying to go from Mysore to Bangalore, better you look through the route. Otherwise, someone is from Kashmir who has come and he wants to go from Mysore to Bangalore, and he says, I will drive my own way. Wherever the road comes, I will try to travel. Then he will not end up in Bangalore. So there has to be, path that we need to be followed. So then the Sankhya reaches to the source. Yeah. Yat Sankhya prapyate sthanam tad yogairapi kamyate yekam sankyam cha yogam cha yah pashyati sa pashyati. One who knows the position reached by the means of analytical study can also be attained with devotion service, and who therefore sees the analytical study and devotion service to be on the same level, sees things as they are. Lord Krishna is telling about the analytical study as per the definition of Vedic scriptures, not your own speculative analytical study. That, I will do analytical study of girls before getting married. You get what I mean? This is not analytical study. This is a Western mindset of enjoyment. Western mindset of enjoyment. So analytical study is what? We understand that karma has certain portion of enjoyment for me. And let me go through this under the direction of superiors. Let me come to a conclusion and get settled. This is analytical study, not analytical study of going through the scientific research. That is a Western mentality. Yeah. So one who does the analytical study, which is much, much more laborious, this requires, years and years and years of sweating with dry philosophical speculations. You get what I mean? Frustration. Better is devotional service. But Krishna is putting both, because Krishna, when he was speaking in the Dwapar Yuga, there were sages who were actually doing this analytical study for years and years. They have thousands of years to live. In Kali Yuga, I already discussed in the previous. Harinama, Harinama, Harinama. Okay, so, yeah. So, next verse. Sanyasastu mahabaho dukkam aptum Ayogatah yoga yukto munir brahma na nachirena adhigacchati. Merely renouncing all activities yet not engaging in devotional service of the Lord cannot make one happy. But the thoughtful person engaged in devotional service can achieve the Supreme Lord without delay. We cannot say that I am going to leave this entire society. I will only walk in the path. No one is there. This is a much more laborious, disturbing process where we will never ever be able to achieve the end goal. It may take lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. Better engage in this world and perform devotional service. Yeah? Yoga yukto vishuddhatma vijitatma jitendriya sarvabhutatma bhutatma kurvan apina lipyate. One who works in devotion, who is a pure soul and who controls his mind and senses, is dear to everyone and everyone is dear to him. Though always working, such a man is never entangled. Just like a cashier, counting notes, millions of notes might come, but a cashier thinks that this note doesn't belong to me. It belongs to the bank. If one is ready to work in that consciousness, it's not easy. It tests us every day. That's why we need to keep Bhagavad Gita every day. Maline, mochanam kumsam, jalastanam dine dine. Even Shankaracharya says every day we need to take bath in Bhagavad Gita. We cannot become one day I read, for whole time it's enough. Every day we need to read this. Then, even though we perform our activities, we will never become entangled. Yeah? Naiva kinchit karomiti yukto manyeta tattvavet pashyan shunvan sprashan jikran asnan gachan swapan swasan pralapan visrujan grahnam unmisam nimishan api indriyani indriyarteshu vartanta iti dharanam. So vartanta iti dharayam. In this way you need to lead your life. Lord Krishna is saying we need to understand a person in divine consciousness, although engaged in seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, moving about, sleeping and breathing, always knows within himself that he actually does nothing at all, because while speaking, evacuating, receiving or opening or closing his eyes, he always knows that only the material senses are engaged with their objects and that he is aloof from them. So we need to understand Ishvaraha sarvabhutanam huddeshe Arjuna tishtati, Lord Krishna says. Ramayam sarvabhutanam yantra rudani maya. Lord Krishna says, Ishvara sarvabhutanam, I am the supreme controller of all the living entities, and Hruddeshu Arjuna tishtati, I am seated in the heart of Arjuna. Not just Arjuna. He is giving Arjuna as one example. He is sitting in everyone's heart. So Lord Krishna says, I am the supreme of all the living entities. I am sitting in Arjuna's heart. That means that Arjuna is different. Krishna is different. Arjuna belongs to Krishna. Now, the another line. Ramayam sarvabhutanam yantra rudani maya. Now Arjuna, yantra rudani maya. Because of the material modes of nature with which we have interaction, we develop desires. Based upon our desires, we migrate from one living entity to the another living entity. Now, what is Arjuna's position? My hand, I give this example. My hand, my eyes, my nose, my ears. What does that mean? As soon as I say my hand is different. I am different. Hand belongs to me. Eyes different. I am different. Eyes belongs to me. So everything, when I say me, who is me? Arjuna. Arjuna is the soul. Soul is migrating from one living entity to another living entity because of Yantra Rudani Maya. This is like a body mission. And Lord Krishna is sitting as a super soul, witnessing the activities of the soul. Soul is actually seated in the mission. Machine is made up of 24 material elements. Yeah. What are those 24 material elements? Gross elements. Bhumi, Rapon, Alo, Vayu. Earth, water, fire, air, and ether. This becomes the 5 gross elements. Then the 5 knowledge acquiring senses: eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and touch. This is now makes it 10. Working senses. Each of this, the eyes seeks what? Eyes seeks form. Ears seeks sound. Tongue seeks taste. Skin seeks touch. Yeah. And what is that one which we left? Yeah. So voice, legs, hands, evacuating organs, reproductive organs. Yeah. So we have objects of the senses. Now the working senses are also there. So knowledge acquiring senses, immediately I'm trying to attach so that you understand. Knowledge acquiring senses, there's the object of senses. Both are partners. Yeah, partners in crime, whatever you want to call. Entire world, it is a partnership between eyes with the form, ears with the sound, nose with the smell, tongue with the taste, touch with the skin. Yeah. Now, knowledge acquiring senses became 10, objects of the senses became 15. Then we have working senses: voice, legs, hands, evacuating organs, reproductive organs. It becomes 20. Then we have the subtle form, which is mind, intelligence, false ego, which is the medium of our sacrifices, which we discussed in the previous chapter. This becomes 23. And another one is when the destruction happens, everything becomes unmanifested, manifested. It goes back to the supreme energy or Lord. Yeah, this is basically manifestation and unmanifestation, which is called the Pradhana. Yeah, this forms the 24 elements with body is a machine. Soul is only sitting there. Because the attachment, we actually think that we are suffering, we are having desire, we are having hatred, we are having pain. So this is what the previous verse says. A person in the divine consciousness, although engaged in seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, moving about, sleeping, breathing, always knows within himself that he actually does nothing. Eyes is only opening and seeing the object. Ears are, it is an instrument to hear. Tongue is an instrument to taste. But soul, because the soul is sitting, all the organs are working. That is the only contribution the soul has. Soul doesn't have any other contribution to make. You get what I mean? So if the soul, partners with the body and the body engages in the service of the Supreme Lord, then there is a connection to the soul. Otherwise, absolutely there is no connection. So I would like to stop here. Let me just now the conclusion of this Brahmani adhaya karmani sangham tyakva karotiya lipyate nasa papena padma patram ivambasa. This is the conclusion of Krishna saying. One who performs his duty without attachment, remember the car example I gave. One who performs the duty without attachment, surrendering the results onto the Supreme Lord, is unaffected by sinful action, as the lotus leaf is untouched by water. Although lotus leaf is remaining in water, always stays separate from water. You can see that the the drops that forms in the lotus flower, it is having no connection. Or is it the lotus leaf? It has absolutely no connection. So Lord Krishna is giving the example. We need to actually perform the work, yet being detached from the results of the work. Why we should be detached? The second part of the fifth chapter comes. We are not the only work. The other two participants who are there. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.